Hi, I'm Shamar Griffith, codename Comic Shams.
And I'm Andrew Tejada, codename Arate.
I'm a blurred with a love for artwork and comics and animation.
And I'm a writer in Blurred with a love for pretty much the same things.
We grew up together and spent much of our formative years watching and talking about DC superhero shows and content. In fact, we still do.
Every episode, we will discuss a DC production, compare it to its original source material, and share our thoughts on the adaptation.
We've enjoyed our conversations these past couple of decades, and we think you will too.
This month, we're checking out New Earths as we hop across the DC verse on
yet another DC animated podcast, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Welcome, dearest listeners of the Well-Rounded Table, to Bohemian Geek Studies, where we take extremely dorky dives into our favorite fandoms. I'm Lady Colleen McMillan, and as far as I know, not allergic to bees.
And I am the new Viscount, who was sure, yes, quite sure in my decision. So will you all please stop asking? Anders Drew.
And I'm your resident Pall Mall Champ 2022, Flo Siegel, and I have a visitor with me. It's my daughter, Charlotte. And she can't stop laughing because she's off to bed.
No, I'm not.
While we vary in terms of our ranks here at BGS and amount of children that we have, one thing will always remain constant. There's always more to learn from the tongue.
Yes, that's right. This season on Bohemian Geek Studies, we are taking a detailed dorky dive into that saucy Netflix series, Bridgerton. This week, we're diving into season 2, episodes 3 and 4, which are titled A Bee in Your Bonnet and Victory. Both these episodes were directed by Alex Pillai, with Sarah L. Thompson and Chris Van Dusen as the writers of 3 and 4, respectively. Now, consider this your spoiler warning. All of season 1 and 2 of Bridgerton are fair game for spoilers. Probably some Jane Austen, because Colleen's here. Definitely some adult content, because we're all here. Mostly involving very intense stares and some very heavy breathing.
So many heaving bosoms.
That's what we love to see. All right, so break out the punch and lemonade. Let's go to the ball and just don't get caught on your own in the conservatory with your single, somewhat distant cousin. It's not what you want. Or do you? No judgment, no judgment.
I'd love to be married too.
Of course. Okay, so let's get into it. We start with a flashback in these episodes. Anthony is hunting with his father. It's 10 years ago, and he gets some fatherly advice about relationships. And then Lord Bridgerton is stung by a bee. He goes into anaphylactic shock, and Anthony is forced to watch his father die while a very pregnant Violet, she's pregnant with Hyacinth at this time, rushes out to try and help, only for her husband to die in her arms while Anthony looks on, which is super hard.
It's a really tragic way to start an episode.
So
yeah,
fun.
Yeah, it's really intense. Okay, so then we get a nice voiceover from Lady Whistledown, who informs the audience that the Sharmas are headed to the Bridgerton country estate, Aubrey Hall, which is lovely, by the way. Side note, so pretty. So they're heading there for a few days before the Bridgerton's annual ball. Then at the Featheringtons, Lady Featherington is preparing to leave in a few days for the ball while also fretting over whether Lord Featherington will find a new wife who will throw them out of the house. That's like her only thing she's focused on this season. Yeah. She decides to scheme in order to match Prudence with him, despite the fact that they are cousins. Yummy.
This absolutely reminded me. It took me a little while to finally figure out like what this scene reminded me of, and it brought me back to 10 Things I Hate About You. Because this is when Lady Featherington is like, we need someone who I can basically bend to my will, who like do what I say and not really be wise to the fact that that's what I'm doing, and which is why she lands on Prudence. And it's that line from 10 Things I Hate About You where they're like, we need someone with money who's stupid.
Yep, I love that movie so much.
Such a good movie.
I'm getting it yourself.
Shakespeare. Yes. We can mix our Shakespeare with our Austen. That's perfectly fine.
It's so good.
Oh, at Aubrey Hall, Daphne arrives with her baby. All the family get to have like their little interactions with the little baby, except for Eloise. She's not all about that life, which is me. That would be me if someone tried to hand me a baby.
I gotta
Daphne
say that's totally fine though. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
it's totally fine for you to not be like a baby, but I gotta say this was a really bad look for Eloise when she's straight up just rude to Daphne in this moment.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
hey, do you want to
is.
see the baby? And she's like, why? Is it different than the last
changed?
time? Has it
Has it
changed?
changed?
Like, if you're not all about the baby, like that's cool.
You can
But
still go look at him and be like, oh,
you can
yes,
go look at
cute
him
baby.
and just say, or you could say, you know what, I'm okay. I
Yeah, just
I
say
don't
no
need-
thank you and
He
move
was
along.
like, she was nasty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
her look this season is just not great.
No, it's not.
But Daphne, not deterred by anything, is amazed that Antony has invited a young woman. Oh, my stars. And of course, she'll help him win over the family as he was such a great help to her last season. Is that a promise or a threat? It's both.
Yeah,
Antony.
seriously.
When the Sharmas arrive, Kate and Antony have a witty interaction that causes Daphne to mistake Kate for Edwina. Not shocking whatsoever. Their chemistry is just like, it's great.
It's
I love it.
crackling.
They are just hot together. And Daphne's like, like, no. Antony asks his mother for her ring, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't think the ring is very cute.
No, it's not.
It's
No.
not very cute. I think they could have done a lot better on that one. So he can propose to Edwina, something Violet is visibly uncomfortable with, as she wants Anthony to want she wants him to have a clear mind, basically, and be like, are you in love with this girl? Is this what you want? Which is
Mhm.
fair. A parent should want to ask their kid that after they've not known this person very long. And they're like, give me the ring, I want to propose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we get another flashback. Anthony is just being bombarded with requests, questions, decisions he has to make in the wake of his father's death, including things like, oh, should we move your stuff into your father's room? While his mother is still like distraught and hysterical on the stairs of the fact that her husband just died in her fucking arms.
Yeah.
To the point where it's about to push her to go into early labor.
I mean, it's a miracle that it didn't. And it's like, it's really a miracle that she pulled through that.
Yeah.
Unbelievably
Sheer will.
sad.
Yeah, sheer willpower and hatred for the doctor.
Yeah.
She is Lady Violet Bridgerton, not Darth Maul, Colleen.
That's Although she'd look great with some like fake legs and a dumpster.
Some
maybe.
robot scorpion.
Oh, yeah.
Robot
Yeah,
She
scorpion.
rocked that shit. She still have her cleavage. It's fine. She looks
Yeah,
great.
she'd look great.
Anyways, back in the present, Daphne's giving Kate and Edwina a crash course in Pall Mall, which is basically a croquet. Kate seems like really intrigued by the strategy involved in this game, and Edwina just seems a little off about the whole thing. She's just not really like a sports person. She's not super competitive in that way. Back at Madame Delacroix's Modiste, Lady Featherton's trying to get Prudence to show off all of her, let's say, assets as much as possible. To the point where she takes her to another store when Madame Delacroix is like, lady, no, that's not going to work.
No, looks terrible. Stop it.
And then Penelope and Madame Delacroix have a brief yet very pointed conversation about their encounter at the end of last episode, where Madame Delacroix never says she knows who Penelope is, but very much says she knows who Penelope is.
She's so good. I just like
She is.
love that interaction because it's like
Mhm.
so like sneaky. It feels like very feminine of the time. Just like, let's
Yeah.
not say it, but we know what we're saying.
Mhm.
Okay, so then of course Pall Mall is on. Kate grabs Anthony's favorite mallet, which is the black one, right?
Black
Like
Death.
The
the
Black
mallet of death. He's left with the worst choice, which I think was pink.
Pink.
Yeah, which is like whatever.
Calm down,
The
Antony.
pink one, so annoying. Kate super into the game. She is like the antithesis of Edwina, who like has no enthusiasm for it. She's kind of like borderline being rude about it. Like it's kind of tough. So during the game, Benedict tells Colin he's applied to a prestigious art school, which is very exciting. Good on you.
Mhm.
Kate uses her turn to knock Anthony's ball into the woods. Then Edwina loses her ball and she just like pieces out of the game rather than retrieve it, which like, again, like,
I think she did it on purpose.
I know, but it's like,
Yeah.
you're being annoying. Like, I don't like
it's
that.
just, it's not your thing, but she's
She's trying, but then I think it's just she's very weirded out by how
I mean,
competitive they are.
I
Yeah.
get it, but like, if you're going to agree to play, then play. If not, just like bow out earlier and go sit with the moms.
Mhm.
You know, like, I don't know. It was just like kind of weird. Also, like, are you trying to impress this guy or not? Like, play. Let's go. Anyway. Then Colin sends Kate's ball in the same direction as Anthony's, and the pair go to retrieve them, and they find a mud pit. Cue like a mud sequence where Kate tempts Anthony with an offer to cheat. A quick note here, Kate's dress matches the flowers on the bushes that they go through to underscore the idea that she is, in fact, where she belongs with Anthony at Aubrey Hall. Anyway, so they fall in the mud. They start laughing uncontrollably. They're getting along. It's great. And then Kate points out where the balls are. Spoiler, they're near his deceased father's grave.
Yeah.
Anthony gets very short. He decides the game is over. He does not want to talk about it. And then Kate retrieves her ball and she finds the gravesite and kind of understands what's going on here.
Yeah. Which is very sad.
Tough.
Yeah. I understand Anthony a little bit here. He's still being a prick for a lot of this time.
Yeah, he's still being a...
But I understand why he's being like this. So we get another flashback, which is very traumatic. This was a lot. This was a whole lot to watch. Anthony is confronted with the decision whether to save his mother or the baby. Like, the doctor is full on being like, shut up, woman. You don't have a choice in your own body. The Lord of the Manor gets to understand. She's like, fuck that. He's a child. And I'm having another child right now in my own house. Get out. Great.
Violet Bridgerton, the epitome of my body, my choice. She is a G.
Love her in this sequence. Anthony's like, yeah, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. He's like, we're going to let her decide. And the doctor's like, what? A woman? Oh my God. But yes, she gets to decide. And then we go back to the Featheringtons. Oh my God. We get this hysterical interaction where Prudence attempts to charm Jack, where he reveals that he's invited the Calvins to dinner. Those blondes, man. He's really into it. Anthony and Edwina are having a very awkward conversation. It's kind of cute, though. Things get easier as Edwina starts to discuss her love of books, and Anthony delights in hearing more about that. Later on, Lady Danbury is eavesdropping, because of course she is, on the sisters, while Violet listens in on Daphne and Anthony, which of course she is. What are we doing here? Daphne isn't set on Edwina being the one for Anthony, though. She's like, she has no objection. She's like, Edwina is perfect, and she's a very nice person. But she doesn't buy that Anthony is actually in love with her, which, of course, he is not.
Is not interested in being.
Right.
No, he's already got it bad. Real bad.
Yeah.
As we will discover.
So at this dinner, Cressida is laying it on very thick towards Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, she's basically like jacking him off under the table, right? Like, it's pretty much like this obvious.
Yeah.
It is. But you know what? That's the game. That's how you play.
Oh, hey, this is a non-judgment. Get it, Cressida. Go
And he's into
get
it.
yours.
Yeah.
And Lady Featherington is being very passive aggressive towards their guests. Back at Aubrey Hall. Back at Aubrey Hall, to calm Benedict down, Colin gives him some opium tea, which Benedict is very nervous and takes far too much of. Save that for a little later. Kate and Eloise have this like kind of really nice interaction out on the balcony. Kate, is asking kind of about some of Anthony's behavior, and Eloise tells her that that's Lord Bridgerton's grave, and don't take it personally. Anthony almost never goes over there. And Eloise asks her, like, what's it like to be an old spinster?
That was
again
wild.
At the ripe old age of 26.
Wild shit. You seem fine as a spinster. Kate's like, wow.
It is nice. It is a very nice conversation, though. Like, yes. Kate's like, look, I'm secure in my choice, but it's not like it's easy, and it's not like society is built to accommodate me in this situation.
Right. Which Eloise does not understand.
Right.
She just does not.
Then we get this nice little kind of mirror interaction. We get another flashback. Anthony goes to his mother, who's in a state, obviously, of depression, given that her husband just died and she had this very difficult birth. And in the present, she shows up at the gravesite. And in the past, she's just not there. And she's like, yo, I'm trying, but I get up, I get dressed, I see the kids. That's all I can do right now. And in the present, Anthony's like, you were not there. when I really needed you for that, and I cannot possibly put myself in a situation where I could experience or cause someone else that much grief. So this is again getting kind of to the emotional root of this choice he's made, where he's like, I'm not interested in a love match.
Right. Which
is that he doesn't
mm-hmm.
want to expose himself to that kind of heartache.
Yeah.
Because that always works out in stories. That just works out for the best when you do that.
It's very Anakin. You know?
He does have a lot of Anakin.
Yeah, he doesn't want to lose people. And so he'll do whatever it takes to not lose people, including, you know, kind of sacrificing himself, Anakin to the dark side and Anthony to a life of loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, at dinner, Benedict is hammered. That guy is high off his ass. Like, I don't even, that tea was cray cray. We're going to need to get some. At dinner, Benedict, he provides the greatest comic relief in his opium state. Anthony is like about to propose, but he pulls back at the last second, which like everybody knew what he was about to do. And everyone's like, oh shit. Edwina's pretty distraught. Yeah, it was tough. Like poor Edwina. Like here she is, like waiting with bated breath, and then it never comes. So then Kate comforts her. And then Benedict, it's college acceptance day for Benedict. He gets his acceptance letter. It's a very small envelope, not the big package that we were
I was gonna
for.
say, I was like, is that his rejection? Like, what's happening?
Right. That's what I thought too, actually. So then back in London, Lady Whistledown trashes Cressida and the town's newer modiste style in a bid to win over Madame de la Croix's favor.
Did you have to call me old?
That was so funny. She's so good. She might be my favorite character, actually. Like, she really is great.
She is very good.
I mean, she's fake French, but still.
Yes.
So then in the gardens, every good thing happens in the gardens. Kate and Anthony have a conversation. She accuses him of toying with her sister. This is really
valid.
Very valid. So then Kate, first of all, let's just talk about the shot here. It's so obvious that they are going to go into this like bee, just like there's constant bees and they're like very big, like way too big. Anyways, so then Kate gets stung by a bee. Anthony panics. Obviously, he has like PTSD, understandably. He starts hyperventilating. Kate has to. Let's put the emphasis on has. Kate has to calm him by placing his hand on her heart, aka her boob, in order to prove that everything's okay. And here they are. He's just fondling her and they're staring at each other intensely.
Heavy breathing.
So good. So much heavy
really
breathing. Good. Oh my God. It was so hot. It was so good.
Very sexy. Like, holy shit, they're fully clothed and this is really hot. Woo!
Yeah.
Here we go. Speaking of hot, it's time for the Hearts and Flowers Ball. Daphne is showing off how good she's gotten at this sort of thing. She's doing great by helping out her mother with the party planning. Anthony and Kate are both feeling down, but of course, not revealing why. Got to keep her secrets. Edwina believes that Kate is the reason Anthony isn't proposing. Yes. So he must also fall in love with her in order to propose to Edwina. Too late. He's already in love with her. I'm very sorry, Edwina. We see quickly that Madame Delacroix is using her dress deliveries to get Lady Whistledown's papers to the printer. Amazing. Love this. Ladies helping ladies, lady bosses. The Featheringtons, speaking of bosses, wow, these women, arrive, and both Eloise and Cullen delight in Penelope's company because she is lovely. Cullen reveals that he's not going to go to the ball, though, really, probably. He's going to go see Marina at her nearby estate, because that sounds really smart. We're going to talk about that later. Edwina schemes for Kate to join the men on their hunt. Amazing. In order for her and Anthony to spend some time together. Yeah, Daphne's like, that's not going to work. Sounds like it's going to do the exact opposite, but that's fine. This scene, I just was like, no. Cullen with Marina, when he shows up and she's like, oh, hi. What are you doing here? I'm holding my baby. And he sees that she seems pretty content with her life, which is like, dude, that is your cue to go away.
This was so awkward. This is like when you like see your ex like at the grocery store and you're just like, Oh, it's you.
Except instead of the grocery store, he shows up at your
At
house
your
unannounced.
Yeah, that's true. It's worse.
Just like, no, it's just no, Colin, no.
Yeah.
Daphne is also getting to know Edwina more. Their scene is also really cute. The two diamonds talking to each other, where she gets the notion that Edwina and Antony don't really know each other very well. Shocking.
Yeah.
Because they
Shocking.
do not.
They do not.
All right. So on the hunt, Kate's really frustrated because the men are not taking her very sensible and accurate advice, which causes her to kind of sneak off alone, leaving not only behind the men, but also the poor lady's maid.
Poor lady's
who had
maid.
to chaperone and did not want to be there in the slightest.
She doesn't know how to ride a horse, probably, because the servants wouldn't be riding the horses. She doesn't know how to go on a hunt. Come on, this poor woman.
Justice for the maid.
Justice for the maid. Colin, meanwhile, actually meets Marina's husband, and the two seem to hit it off. Dude likes flowers. Colin likes flowers. They're both, they're nerding out together. It's great. And Eloise is enduring, and I must say it is enduring, the company of the other young ladies. While Prudence and Lady Featherington are bowling, something Prudence is actually pretty good at. So you know what? Shout outs to the girl. She
got a strike.
Damn you, Lady Featherington, for not noticing any of your daughters when they accomplish something.
Yeah.
Right? They finally do stuff, and she's not. Prudence, everyone look at me. Oh, this poor girl. I can't.
All right. Anthony finds Kate. She's getting ready to shoot a deer, and she can't quite hold the rifle right. Like, it's just not the type of gun she's used to. So he gets right up behind her to help her out. And one whiff of her hair, and I cannot hesitate how quickly this guy goes from 6 to midnight. All right.
Accurate.
You can pinpoint the exact instant.
Man, yeah. He's gonna have to put his gun in front of his crotch.
Absolutely. And this stare again, this just super intense stare. It just seems to just like happen out of nowhere. Unfortunately, this is another tense moment where they are interrupted by the arrival of the rest of the hunting party, and so they have to go back to the house.
This was like really one of those moments where like I remember just being on the edge of my seat, being like, will they or won't they? Because like he may have been turned on, but like I was so turned on. I was just like, Jesus freaking Christ, this is so hot, and like they've barely touched. Whew, Lord. This is like the spoons from season 1. I can't. It was so
except
good.
I saw this.
Thank you. I'm so glad you saw this one.
What can I say? Kate's hot.
She is hot. Really hot. She is hot. Speaking of hot, Colin's also hot. And Colin and Marina are still awkwardly talking at Marina's house. Marina confronts Colin. She tells him she's happy with the way things are. She's content with her lot. He needs to be as well. She doesn't have the luxury of living in this like Bridgerton fantasy. And she tells him to get his head out of the clouds. And she encourages him to notice what's in front of him and just kind of like be like, just like come back down to earth, like my little travel bug. And maybe he'd see like Penelope, who is right there and in love with him. So then, okay. This, I swear to God. Okay. Anthony and Kate, they both can't sleep. They end up in the library in not a whole lot of clothing. Anthony tells her why he reacted the way he did at the bee sting. More intense staring ensues.
There's so much intense staring in these episodes.
During a thunderstorm too, it's like so romantic and intimate.
There's a bolt of lightning. It jerks them out of the trance. We'll talk about how this is different in the book later. But the scene's great. The scene's very pivotal in the book. Daphne reveals to her mother that while Edwina's great, like no problem, she sucks at Pall Mall, but that's fine. She isn't who she saw Anthony being with. It's just not what she pictured. And she says that much to Anthony, who accuses her of meddling. And yeah, like that's 100% what she's doing. That's what siblings are for. And also, Anthony, newsflash, that's what you did to Daphne.
Yeah, hard, real hard to Daphne. Come on now. It's because she's a girl. It's fine.
Exactly.
Oh, Anthony, I'm gonna strangle him. At the ball, Edwina and Antony dance while Eloise is forced into a dance with a suitor from her mother. This was rough. Like, this guy was trash. I'm very glad that she tossed him aside. After spurning the man, Eloise reveals that she knows she's the disappointment to her mother and storms out.
That was tough.
That was
a tough moment.
That was very tough. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
honey, it's so hard. And her mom's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Oh, man. This part, more hotness. Whoo, sizzling. Edwina makes Kate and Antony dance. So that he can ask for her blessing on their impending engagement. That's exactly what they're going to talk about. The two dance.
It is, to be fair, it is what they talk about.
They do talk about it, but there are other things that other people are picking up on that they don't know that they're throwing out there. Yeah. The two dance, and we were treated to, wait for it, more intense staring. So intense dancing. Lady Danbury and Daphne both take notice of this new development and this chemistry that is lighting the dance floor on fire. Kate reveals that she intends to return to India the instant her sister is married, and Antony is visibly upset by this. He is not a happy camper. Like, dude, you can't have both. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he needs to get his act together for real.
Definitely. All right, so Kate chases after him. They have this like super intense conversation where they're shouting at each other. They're confessing openly how much they hate each other, and they are about to get down to some major serious hate fucking when Daphne interrupts.
I wish they had.
They were so close.
Really close.
This was the point when I'm watching the episode where I'm like, okay, we're doing the whole tension thing, like, great, but can we break it already? Like, for the love of God, rip each other's clothes up or something and just get down to it.
They won't.
I know. So Daphne interrupts. She confronts Antony about the situation. Credit to her for just going straight for the bar and just be like, yo, I need a drink if we're going to do this right now. Calling out the similarities between this exact situation and the one that Antony caught Daphne and Simon in last year when he forced them to get engaged. Anthony insists that he still intends to propose to Edwina, but Daphne is just like, dude, stop fucking lying to yourself and be honest, because these sorts of feelings will always come out in the end.
I wonder if they will.
Although, like, how would Daphne even know? Because, like, Daphne has no experience, but whatever, that's fine. So while all of this is going down, Lady Featherington, that beautiful genius, she has schemed to catch Jack and Prudence in a similar situation. The result is they become engaged, securing the Featheringtons' position. It's quite funny, actually, how it happens, because Prudence is just like, oh, like what? She's a very bad actress. Unfortunately, Jack reveals to her that he is, in fact, broke. Surprise. He was hoping to live comfortably on Cressida's dowry, but obviously that's no longer an option. So way to shoot yourselves in the foot, Featheringtons. Later on, Lady Danbury offers Kate some sage advice about being honest with herself and her sister. Very good advice. And then everyone's preparing to leave. It's time to leave the country and head back to the city. Kate appears ready to tell Edwina what's been passing between her and the Viscount. But then Antony rushes out of the house, gets down on one knee, proposes to Edwina in front of the carriages, and she excitedly accepts. End of episode.
So much happens in these episodes.
So much going on.
Okay. First, we're going to dive into our major characters and their relationships. We have to start with Antony. For real. This poor guy. I think episode 3 really is like his episode where we get to figure out what is up with Antony. First, we're going to start off with his relationship with Edwina. I think these two are really precious together. They are very cute. I think if Kate weren't in the situation, they would make a nice couple. Like, I think Antony would be like, we're not going to be in love, but then he would slowly fall in love with her if they got married.
Yeah, they'd make like kind of like a they'd make like a Lord and Lady Grantham type situation, where like, that's not why they got together, but they'd work it out over time.
Right.
I feel like they would just be like super boring. To me, they would be like the most boring couple ever. Like,
I thought so until later in the season, but we're gonna have to save that for
Yeah.
later because she does have a personality. If she were like a complete wet blanket about everything, I don't think they'd be happy. But I think she would maybe like she'd ease him a little bit, which would help because he's wound so damn tight. Like,
well, I think the problem with both of them is they're both like very dutiful.
Yes.
And like
Yes.
that in itself is like
Mhm.
kind of boring.
Mhm.
So just in that, like it would just be like, you don't really want to go over to their house for dinner. It would just be like kind of like dry toast.
Fancy. Yeah, it would be
Fancy,
fancy
but dry.
and opulent, but yeah. I think they'd be like that happy couple from that kind of region. She's very mature though. She's super worldly. Like Anthony, he's accepting her basically, but I do like that she has that feistiness to her. But Daphne's right. Anthony needs someone who can trade barbs with him, who can stand up to him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Edwina probably would learn to do that, but I don't think she would at the beginning at all, unless he did something real bad.
But you know who would?
Who? Who?
Okay, so I'm really
Ooh.
excited. I got elected to talk about Anthony and Kate. Thanks, team. Anthony and Kate are perfect for each other because they are both similar in all the right ways and different in all the right ways. They're both super headstrong, super obstinate, super convinced that they're right, but then also so like secretly passionate. And it's just like really exciting how they're kind of starting to bring that out of each other. We see it kind of in the mud. We see them like laughing, having fun, like enjoying competition together. But then of course, like they shut it down, you know, like they both kind of know their place. They've got a sense of duty as well. And, you know, Anthony is just, he's not ready to let her in yet. And she's not ready to let him yet either.
No.
I think in a way she feels some guilt over what she's doing in terms of Edwina and like the money situation. And I think thinks that he would think less of her for kind of manipulating the situation. And then of course he thinks that he'll look weak if he is like, my dad got stung by a bee and I can't like, you know, get over it because
deal with
I don't
it.
have therapy. But I think the show does such a good job of showing how great they are together and how they just fit. It's like puzzle pieces, and I just like love it.
They naturally gravitate towards each other in that early scene. I mean, who does he first go see out of the carriages, which is one of the reasons Daphne confuses Kate for Edwina, is because he's naturally drawn to her.
Kate.
Yeah, it's
and
amazing.
The dog. Gotta get the dog's approval. Newton is not having it.
No.
It's like,
no.
I don't think so, dude. They're so cute.
All right, on to a little bit of a sadder relationship here. We get much more here about Anthony and Violet. So grief does absolutely terrible things to us as people. A lot of familiar relationships don't survive in an event like the death of Lord Bridgerton and that aftermath. Like there are plenty of people who would have just like cut ties and pieced out and just mentally and emotionally checked out completely. So it's really interesting to see Violet in her depression compared to now. Like we see everything she has dealt with, everything she has gone through, and how far she's come to kind of rebuild her own sense of self and her sense of life after that great loss, not to mention the postpartum depression she was going through on top of it at the exact same time. She's trying to be there for Anthony in the present, to be that mother that he absolutely needs here, but in his mind, he left the need for a mother behind when Hyacinth was born. And it's just really, really sad to see them in that situation together.
It's so hard.
I have like a lot to say about this. I'm obviously like going through a very difficult time in my life right now. And so when I see Violet kind of like working through this like horrific situation largely alone and with all these children to take care of, I think there is so much to be said about her strength and how she, although it's very hard and she is very depressed and she doesn't have a lot of the tools that we now have, like therapy and, you know, all sorts of things, medication that she probably would have needed. She does end up holding it together, and she holds this entire family together, even through her grief, even through this personal turmoil that she's going through, because she loved Edmund. He was the love of her life. They were for sure a love match. And so to see her now without him, like, this is not how she pictured her life. And I just like really respect her for what she did for her family and what she continues to do to do the best she can by herself. And while Anthony is pretty fucked up from this situation, I think he's more fucked up by like the actual seeing his dad die than seeing his mother so depressed. I think what he learned from seeing his mom so sad is that like love is kind of a double-edged sword. And unfortunately, like, he's only seen the bad part in a lot of ways. And so, I really, really love how the show explores Anthony and Violet in this season.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I love Violet. We need more Violet.
I mean, we're going to get a lot of her. She's going to be in every season.
Yes, that's true. She's just trying to get her kids married so she can have the house to herself.
Yeah, she's just like, I just need some quiet time.
Everybody go get married now. Hyacinth, you two. Just all of you. Go.
I mean, God bless Francesca, who moved out of the country. Go get it.
Yeah, get after it, Francesca. We love you. Next, we have Antony with Daphne. I love them. This is such a great sibling dynamic. So funny. It's a great showcase for these two. Their positions of power have completely reversed since last season, which is really fun to see. Since Daphne not only technically outranks Antony because she is a duchess, but also since he's no longer her guardian, he has no control over her. She can say whatever the fuck she wants. And this means she speaks her mind. When she wants, how she wants. She goes and gets that drink real fast. And then it's like, we're going to have some real talk here. Because you treated me like shit in this situation. And what if it had been someone else that caught you? They would have treated her like shit. Not you. You would be fine. You'd just be like, yeah, you have to marry her. But there'd still be that, oh, they have to marry so quickly. I wonder why. And it's always the woman's fault.
Shocking.
But yes, I like this Daphne. This funny, witty, competitive. I'm going to destroy my brothers at this ball game. Yes. More of that.
Okay, moving on, we have Kate and Edwina. And I mean, Kate is very much trying to comfort her sister. She is being very nurturing. She is so protective of her younger sister. And it's more of a question, is Kate right to attempt to sacrifice her own happiness in the hopes that her sister will have some?
Kate is a light herself on fire to light the way for others. I can't say that she's wrong because that's how I am. I don't want to be wrong. But she has a lot to unpack in therapy too. You can't pour from an empty cup and all that. I think she's right to. However, I don't think she sees the other way, which is that they can both be happy. Like, it doesn't have to be either or, it can be both. Right. So
it's a lot. I think the whole Sheffield family fortune dowry thing is also hanging over her head. So she's worried about her mother, like not just her sister's happiness, but her mother's happiness. And to her, it's right. Like, to her, this is the right decision, even though chaos is probably going to ensue from these kind of decisions. She thinks that she's doing right.
I think,
and it's really hard. I think she should have said something like the night before.
I think the struggle here is that, like, to me, this is the like less well done part of the season, is this like Sheffield family issue,
Mm-hmm. Great.
which like doesn't exist in the book. And I just feel like it wasn't like a high enough stake for her to be giving up her happiness. Like it just didn't really make sense that it would have to be either or.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I think that's a show issue and not a Kate issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the actress is slaying it. Like she's doing so well with this role.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then we also have some great interactions. I just love the relationship between Kate and Lady Danbury. They have such great chemistry together on screen. The actresses play off each other so well. And I could just totally buy them having some kind of like mentor-mentee based friendship that lasts like forever.
How to swing a cane. Although she knows how to swing a croquet mallet. So I think she'll be fine. I love these two together. And I like how they both had like their little braids in for the evening so that their hair gets curly, because you have to have curly hair, otherwise your life is ruined. And they're in like just their robes and they're going outside and they're chilling outside and being ladies. But then of course Lady Danbury's like, you're gonna catch a cold, your face is gonna get puffy, get back inside. Like for real.
Such good shit.
So good. I love that.
All right, so next up, we see a lot more of Edwina in these episodes. So we get our first real sense of her as a person.
Mm-hmm.
We see her at Pall Mall. She enjoys sport, but not Pall Mall, apparently. And she doesn't have the same competitive nature as her sister, for sure. It kind of like made her uncomfortable, it seemed, to be competing.
Yeah, I think that's the part that really like got to her. Like the game itself, she was like, "Oh yeah, this is
like
fine."
games.
But when she saw how intense the people got
like,
about it, it's just like,
"What
is this?"
Right.
Just a game, fucker. That's basically what she's saying.
It kind of seems like Edwina always has the right thing to say.
Mm-hmm. She's been trained.
Yeah, it's like hard to know what's her actual opinion or thought and what she just feels like is the right thing to say at this time. And she also puts an insane amount of pressure on herself. Like she should have done better. I could have done more. Like, no, you're doing you, and like you're great the way you are. We do see her perfection start to crack a little bit in these episodes. Her stress levels are super high. She yells at Kate that yes, like this is what she wants. And we're not like really sure if she's trying to convince Kate or herself of this. It's also like whenever I see this and like whenever I think about Aubrey Hall, because we get a lot of Aubrey Hall in the books, it's like very uncomfortable for me that like these people are all staying in a stranger's house. It's like a really long sleepover at a stranger's house. And like I would be so uncomfortable. So I'm not surprised that she's uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, to put the modern like label on it, this is and I've never seen an episode of this show, but from what I understand, this is what happens. This is like the Meet the Parents episode of The Bachelor, right? Where they like the hometown.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, in a way.
I mean, you don't really know them very well. And yeah, you're gonna go and meet your parents, like the girls' parents.
Meet the whole family.
Yeah, but I feel like at the hometowns, it's like more, it just feels like maybe there's more stuff to do. And so like you're a little bit like, hey, like let's all go on the farm and take a look at the combine or whatever. And
More scheduled.
This is more like if you're not perfect, then like you're fucked. So I don't know. Yeah.
What do you have on your toast in the morning? It better be a certain thing. Otherwise
that's right.
Get just totally annihilated by these people.
Right.
All right, poor Edwina. We love her. We wish you all of the best things, Edwina. You know who we don't wish the best though in this situation? Fucking Colin. My God. Dude. No. Colin and Marina and Mr. Crane. Lord Crane. Like, come on. What the fuck is he thinking? He's not thinking. He's this like fucking white knight kid syndrome. I love that Marina called him a child.
Yeah.
That he was a child living in this fantasy land where he could come and save her from all of her troubles and woes. He thinks that he knows what's best. Otherwise, like, why did you stay to dinner when it was obvious Marina was super uncomfortable? Like, dude, read the room. I guess he was just so excited to find another fanboy, which was pretty adorable watching them dork out together. That part I liked. And like, okay, Mr. Crane's obviously kind of lonely too. and he found a fellow nerd, and he's like, we could talk about plants. Oh my God. But poor Marina, she's like, there's 2 babies. Like, can we not have my ex freaking fiance over for dinner? Oh, I could not with Colin in this moment. I was like, leave her the fuck alone. She's married. She has 2 babies. Like, she's living the best life she can live in the confines of this society. Like, leave her the fuck alone.
But this is the issue with the Bridgertons, right? Like, they
Pushy.
witnessed this, but also like they witnessed this epic love story between their parents that just isn't typical.
Right.
And
Right.
they just like seek that and like want to replicate that. Maybe not Hyacinth, who didn't really see it, or Gregory, who was really, really little, but like the older
Or
ones.
Anthony, who's actively campaigning against it.
Well, he sees it in a different way, right? Anthony kind of took it the opposite way, where it's like, this is too much. And like, I can't have this much or else it's going to hurt. But I think Colin, Daphne for sure, Francesca, they kind of saw this love and they're like, how can I get this? Because like, this is the pinnacle. And so Colin's like, you know, I loved her. Like, she's great. Like, let's make it happen. And Marina, she's living in the present. She hasn't had this experience. And so she's like, this, you can't hope for that. That's not a real thing. That's like a 1 in, 1 million shot. And it's not me.
Yeah. And she had hers, like hers died.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Colin, it's not you. She didn't love you.
She didn't. That's the thing. Like, Colin loved her, but she didn't love him.
Right.
He was
At
convenient.
least not in the same way.
No.
Yeah, she was
Yeah,
very
really
grateful.
in any way. I don't think she
Grateful
loved
for him, but not.
Yeah.
She's like, I liked you. She was going to do the thing that Anthony wants to do, marry somebody
100%.
who's kind that I could get along with.
Yeah.
And I think she does that. She did that completely. Lord Crane, he seems fine.
Yeah.
He likes plants.
No.
I think he's fine. I like nerds. It's fine.
Well, I mean, me too. But
I
he's
think he too is like, he's in a situation he doesn't really want to be in, but he's trying to be kind and good. And it's just, they're not going to be happy. I don't think.
But they're
I
going to
don't-
make it work.
They're gonna
depends
try.
if we're gonna
Wow.
go in what happens in the book.
No, I don't think we should spoil that far.
Ugh, I'm still miffed over that after I found that out.
There's a lot going on with Lord Crane that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Benedict. Not a
I love
ton
him.
from here, but I just want to know, can we just like plop out regular Benedict and make him always stoned Benedict? Because that's a great fucking guy.
I second that motion.
Oh my God, he's so funny. I love Benedict. I think he's hilarious. I love how he's always playing devil's advocate also. When he's like, come on, let her go hunt with us. This is gonna be great. Antony's like, I'm gonna hit you. Like, I'm gonna full on hit you in the face. And Benedict's just like,
Well, we
just
get,
waiting. I love it.
and like not to jump too far ahead here, but we could just skip down also to Eloise, like the difference between Benedict and Eloise and how they're kind of like handling the I'm not the oldest situation.
Yeah.
I'm the
Benedict
spare.
is just like, dude, I got no pressure on me. This is fucking great. Anthony gets to deal with all the shit and I can just do whatever the fuck I want.
Mhm.
And Eloise is just so different and she doesn't know how to handle that because she still has these high expectations on her.
Mhm.
And it's very middle child syndrome. She's set on the idea that her mother both cannot and is actively will not understand her.
Yeah.
That confession at the ball is just
Sad.
heartbreaking.
Oh, really
And
sad.
but it's such like it's a cry for help and a cry for attention that Violet just doesn't know how to answer.
Mhm.
Like she is just not prepared for Eloise.
No, I don't think any mother of this time period would be, because she's very progressive, and the women in the nobility are pretty samesies. Like all the girls she talks to, they're like, disobey our mothers?
Yeah,
They're just horrified by
I
that.
would never do that. Why would I ever
Never.
do that?
Yeah, my mother knows best. No, they don't. Frickin' Violet told Daphne that sex was a flower metaphor. Come on now.
That was the worst. I can't.
That
can't
was
do that
terrible.
one.
So bad. You know who actually is kind of a good mom? Lady Featherington. I don't know
Hey.
why.
If you say so.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think she at least has her daughter's like interests in heart when it comes to living comfortably, like living a comfortable life. How she goes about it is like, wow, something has gone horribly wrong here. But I love just seeing her scramble and try and scheme because she's just got that air about her. Like, she's going to succeed somehow, but it's going to be a whole fucking hot mess to get to the end. Like, she's no way she's going to let this new Lord Featherington ruin her life and her daughter's lives. Like, no, she's not going to let this happen. She has that like survivor type spirit, but she doesn't think things through at all. Like she panics too quickly, and she's very smart and cunning, but when you don't think ahead,
Well, this is like kind of the thing with her though. Sometimes she thinks like too far ahead instead of just like letting things kind of like wait and see. She's just like, how can I scheme this? And it's like, just chill, bitch.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Drink some opium tea. Like
everyone drinks some opium tea.
Yeah. Okay, let me go check on Char real quick because she is like singing so loud in her bed and I want to make sure she's okay. And I'll catch back up with Penelope. Hold up.
Oh, Penelope, poor Pen. Oh my God. I love Pen, but the poor thing, yikes. Ooh, okay, what's next music? What? Why are you shaking your head?
Oh, Penelope.
She's very imperfect, but I do love an imperfect character.
Yeah.
I sure hope that they fix Colin next season, though. I
was gonna say, Colin's gonna have to
beg forgiveness.
No. Colin's gonna have to be full on head over heels for Penelope when he finds out that she Lady Whistledown and blew the whistle on Marina.
Yeah.
Colin's gonna have to be like so far in it that he's just like, I don't care that you blew up my engagement.
Ooh, and you wrote about Eloise.
Although I think he might actually get over that.
Oh yeah, I think he will. I think he will.
All right, so let's talk about our girl Pen in these episodes. So we've always like known that Pen is super clever and smart, but in these she really shows her ingenuity, her cleverness. She knows she needs Madame Delacroix on her side because she just does. Like Madame Delacroix like knows stuff.
Absolutely. She was suspected as Lady Whistledown for a while.
Totally. And she just has a lot of access. And obviously this won't be the first time, or this isn't the first time that we see Pen use her writing to make things happen that she wants. It won't be the last time either. So yeah, keep an eye on Pen because big things about to happen, especially probably in season 3.
Oh, Pen, sweet Pen. We do love you, even if you make really big mistakes.
Yeah.
That's fine. You wouldn't be a fun character if you didn't.
That's right.
Okay. So next we're going to move into our things to listen for, the Bridgerton soundtrack. The biggest music cue from this episode is the Vitamin String Quartet covering Dancing on My Own. I love this song. It's originally by Robin. I jam to this every single day. While we were watching the episode, I sang the lyrics to it as I watched with my mom, and she was just mystified. She's like, how do you know the words to this song? And it's actually from an episode of Girls that I watched and then immediately downloaded the song. I don't really like that show, but I really like the song. So I was like jamming with my mom. It was great.
I won't lie. I had never heard the song until the show. And it wasn't until afterwards that I actually looked up the song itself. Like it's an original version. Like I knew as I was watching, I was like, this is obviously a cover of something. That's just how the show rolls. But I had no idea what the song was. And everyone's like, oh my God, it's this thing. It's Dancing on My Own. And it fits so well in the moment. And I'm just like, take your word
I didn't
for
know
it.
this one either.
I have no idea what song this
Oh,
is.
you need this song. It's so good.
Yeah, clearly.
So
but
good.
I didn't know it.
It's about unrequited love, basically, like watching the dude you like be with someone else.
Oh, my favorite.
Yep. So then, of course, we get Kate dancing with Anthony, the one she wants to be with, whether she wants to say it or not. But he's going to be with Edwina. Like, so good. So good. I love this song. Yes, listen to it, Flo.
I will. Spotify tomorrow on my way to work.
All right. And next up, we have our best fit. So I am absolutely giving this to Kate's hunting outfit. Looks fucking great. Spoiler, I probably would give Kate best fit every episode this season. The girl just looks hot in absolutely fucking everything.
Her nightgown. She looks ridiculously hot in her nightgown.
I was about to say this exact thing. So ridiculous.
But the hunting outfit, with
the hat.
kind of like the coat-like dress and the hat on top. It's that beautiful, beautiful, like bluish, kind a little bit of green in there, and it's just so good. I also want to give a shout out to actually a character we don't see that often, Lady Mary. The layers she has during that Pow Wow match are just, I think, really intriguing and look really, really good. The fabric is actually insanely detailed, and then it has that kind of golden edge going along it. Thought it looked really good.
She always looks very put together. Like, it's perfect. And I love when she wears the velvet. Like, anytime anybody's wearing that lush velvet, it looks really great. I like the differences in how the boys dress, the Bridgerton boys. You have Anthony in dark colors, and he does match Kate a few times on the hunting trip. They are matching. Benedict is the flashiest. Obviously, he has a lot of color usually. And then Cullen has these slightly pastel hues, like his coat was that baby blue, signaling his youth compared to his brothers, and also his more like lofty ideals as compared to his brothers. Oh, my dude, Colin. I'm so sorry. Innocent baby. Like, somebody needs to hit him really hard.
Colin just always looks like he's going to the Easter egg hunt. I'm just
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? Just like,
Yep. He's the pastel baby. Benedict gets to be flashy. And Anthony's like, I am the head of the household. I am dour, blah, blah, blah. Perfect.
I do also want to give one quick shout out to Lady Danbury in that like deep red at the ball, looking solid.
All right, next we're going to do our things we want to discuss. There's a bunch of little things in here that are really fun. Pall Mall versus croquet. This is fantastic. This game is amazing. It's a precursor to croquet, actually. The object of the game is to get your ball through all of the hoops in the fewest strokes. The game came to England from France, because of course it did, in the 17th century. We like this. Julia Quinn, she's so funny. She stated that the game was the closest thing she could find to croquet at the time the novel was set, so she went with it. She obviously wanted a game that could make people get really mad at each other, which croquet often does. She's not sure she got the rules right, but, quote, then again, I've never played croquet by the official rules, end quote.
Who
has?
Well, yeah, I was gonna
rich
say,
people, I guess. Rich people.
What?
No,
Plays
absolutely
croquet.
not. So a few of the differences, we touched on some of these before, the differences between the book and the show in these episodes, starting off with the bee and the sting. Now in the book, Anthony panics so much that he attempts to suck the venom out of Kate's sting point, on her chest. He panics that he just puts his mouth right on there and starts sucking.
Talk about a mommy complex. Like,
I
dude.
know.
Okay, but this part was so hot in the book, though.
I gotta say, it's a great change, though. Like, if we're rating, like, is that a smart change or whatever? It's a pretty good story-wise change.
I think it's really good.
No, I would have paid to see him absolutely latch on.
Part of me
million
thinks that there
percent.
absolutely has to be like an outtake where they did it like just for fun.
Yes, please show us.
I mean,
that.
I'll pay extra for that. I'll go on Pornhub and get it.
Bees were all over the place in season 1, kind of foreshadowing things going on in the season. Both Benedict and Eloise have sported bee-themed accessories in season 1, which, given what we know about them now and the whole deal with Lord Bridgerton, is kind of morbid, but they both are kind of the black sheep of the family, so it makes a little sense.
A little bit, yeah. Benedict has like his collar popped and has bees on the side of it. And I'm like, all right, my guy, that's what we're doing. That seems fine. I found this out. I was very curious as to whether they could have saved Lord Bridgerton, like whether this was available. Bridgerton is set around like 1813, that time frame. The discovery of epinephrine didn't happen until 1897, and it wasn't used medically until 1905. So Viscount Bridgerton was born a little too early for an EpiPen. Just a little too early.
I also just want to point out, and I'm pretty sure, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, listeners who have read the book, but I think it says in the book that he had been stung before with no reaction. And so
it's like a
often,
build-up.
yeah, it's like the second or the third time that these things happen. And so like he was not expecting it. Nobody was expecting it. And then it just happened. So it's, it's doubly bad in that.
That's
Poor thing.
sad.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. Okay, we do have to mention something here. This is like kind of crucial.
Yeah, huge. My mom was talking about this a lot.
Yeah, so was I, because I was like, this does not happen in the book. Edwina and Anthony do not get engaged in the book. So after the bee sting incident where he's sucking on her titties, he is more or less like forced into an engagement with Kate, similar to Daphne and Simon last season, right? They're compromised, and so they have to get married. Prudence and Lord Featherington, same thing. It's like not too weird that Prudence and Lord Featherington are engaged, because hit it, Colleen.
Yeah, Fanny Bryce marries her first cousin in Mansfield Park.
Jane, I mean, like, they still do
that.
What
are you doing
in like Alabama and stuff? So whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, Lady Featherington is right to point out, like, look at the royals. Like this is what they do. Yes, they're all married to cousins.
Yeah, fourth cousin, they wouldn't have batted an eye. The Queen would definitely approve.
Elizabeth and Philip were related, weren't they?
Yep. But yeah, Edwina and Anthony never get engaged. It's like, it's really not even a thing. Like,
yeah, doesn't Edwina be like, this is fine?
Yeah, well, Edwina likes somebody else. Like, it's really like not even an issue at all. So anyways, the plot of this season is completely different than the Viscount Who Loved Me, period. Another difference compared to season 1, a lot less sex and nudity so far. I have a lot of thoughts about this. I do want to hear your thoughts about it. Good change, bad change, different change. How are we feeling?
I like it. I mean, I like the smut. I'm here for the smut. I think that fits Simon and Daphne much more, especially since Kate is an Indian actress. In Bollywood, like, you can't even kiss. Like, you can like dance together and maybe touch hands, but there's no kissing. So showing a lot of sexual content would maybe be strange if you have Indian viewers who are more used to Bollywood style. I mean, it could still get sexier, but it's pretty damn sexy. I mean, that dance, shit. Just like Darcy and Elizabeth in Pride and Prejudice, the 2005 version, like sizzle, spark, when they do like the hand thing and they're like touching and like, my God. I saw everything that Lady Danbury saw, and yes. Still hot. Still very hot.
Anders, what do you think?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this a little bit more today, and I liked the choice to begin with, just to kind of help differentiate the two seasons together, to keep things kind of newer, fresher, keep things interesting, and not just spoon feed people what they're expecting. And I think it also makes sense if you think about this. The differences, our main characters that we're focusing on, Daphne season 1, Anthony in season 2. Daphne is very sheltered. She doesn't really know what she's doing. And then once she gets married, like, the floodgates kind of open, which makes sense. Like, she absolutely would be in this situation. Like, oh my God, yes, let's do it again. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's go. This is great.
I Whereas mean, have you seen Simon though? Literal floodgates. Literal.
Yeah.
But Anthony is this season. I mean, the entire series opened with Anthony fucking against a tree in season 1.
Yeah.
So we're not going to have that necessarily. We already know that about him. What we're focusing on this season is him actively suppressing these feelings and building this internal tension, waiting for things to just kind of burst out at some point. So for them to focus more on just building more and more of those tense moments, I was starting to get a little tired of them by the end of this episode, because we had like 4 of them in a single episode, as opposed to having them be a little bit more spread out.
Right.
But I think it's a good choice overall.
So I appreciate a slow burn. I do. And I appreciate a longing look, and I appreciate hands on bosoms. At the same time, like, and this is going to be kind of my complaint in the future episodes too, they just took so long to get to anything even like remotely PG-13. That to me it just took too long. I wanted all this condensed, like episodes 1 and 2, maybe 3, but like 4, like let's at least kiss, people. Let's go. Like, honestly, I can't.
They were doing like the I hate you more, like they, and I was just waiting for them
smash.
to
I mean, it
come
was
together and
like
smash
very
people.
Yeah, it was very quintessential, like movies of this time period, books of this time period. It was very will they, won't they, and yeah, I mean, I was here for it, but like
a little more.
Again, it just dragged on.
Yeah, it does. It does start to drag a little bit. I'm with you on that.
And it's almost like they forgot what got people to watch season 1. Like, I wasn't going to watch season 1 until people were like, oh my God, it's so hot. And I was like, okay, like, let's go. Now I'll watch it. But it's like they kind of lost that viewership in a way where it was like, this is no longer smut. This is just like a romantic show. But like, we need a little bit of smut. Like, again, the titty sucking would have done it, but we didn't get it. So whatever.
We needed the titty sucking, people.
We need the titty sucking.
We needed something.
I'm just saying, like, why cut out like the one canon smut thing that happened? There was no need to cut it. Like,
really was
he
not.
literally like rips her dress open. Like, it's hot as fuck in the book. He's just like, well, bam, and then like he's just like latched on to. He's not like on the nipple or anything, team. Like, it's not like that. But like, he's like all up in her, like, business. It's great. Anyways, that's it.
Medical motorboat.
Yeah, he's just like, let me suck that poison out, girl.
And she's like, yeah.
Okay, so I have a question here about these episodes that's actually more of a logistics question that I started thinking about. This is like an annual Bridgerton ball. Yes. So did this happen last year? Like season 2 opens with Lady Danbury being like, oh, most of the town has been in the country for the off season. So why the hell are we going back for the biggest event of the new season? And on that note, like, what actually constitutes a season here? Like, was season 1 the spring, then everyone like leaves for the country in the summer, and now it's the fall? Or was it the fall and then everyone went to the country for the winter and now it's the spring? I know like season 1 obviously had enough time for Daphne to grow and give birth to a baby. So it's probably more like a year has gone by, but like, I'm confused by the logistics here. I love the fact that we got to go to the country and see this. It's a nice like change of setting. It was cool setup for these episodes, but I was just kind of like, wait, didn't they just leave here?
Yeah, that confused me too. I did look this up because I saw your question. I'm like, I need to research this. So the season, or the social season for the nobility, was during the spring and summer, when the families would return from their country homes to the city. London typically started in March, ended in September. The only thing I can think here is because this is kind of like an anniversary thing for Viscount Bridgerton's death. Like, they all go back to the country for this one event. It seems like it would be more like an end of the season event, though.
Yeah, and I think in the books it is. So in the books, they go back to Aubrey Hall for this sort of ball situation in almost all the books. Like in Eloise's book, while she's not at Aubrey Hall, the rest, like at least some of the family is at Aubrey Hall. And I think Kate and Anthony actually end up moving there for the majority of the time because Kate really likes it. So while he does have to be at Bridgerton House pretty often, they do spend a lot of time at Aubrey Hall. And also, like, Daphne spends a lot of time, obviously, like, at the Hastings estate. And so they're mostly in the country. They're really only in the city during some of the season. And even then, like, they go back and forth. But I do think in the books, this was either, like, the kickoff event. I think it was, like, the kickoff event. Like, the season is beginning, and
so we're leaving the country.
Stung by bees.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just seems misplaced. You're correct, Anders, where it is like Wouldn't have been better.
I didn't go back
easier?
and rewatch season 1, but I was like, I'm pretty sure we didn't do this last year if it's the event of the season.
Definitely not.
All right. So I would like to know, growing up, did you guys have any family traditions like the Pall Mall game?
Yes, yes, we do. Games in my family are life or death, pretty much. Most of us are hyper competitive, just like the Bridgertons. This is me and my cousins and aunts and uncles on my mom's side. We get together every year for a week and go to a lake and hang out in these like cabins that are not cabins, they're houses. And we're just there for the week together. Right now, there's probably 60 people that go. And I have 20 first cousins. So we had this one game of spoons at the lake. Alcohol may or may not have been happening at the same time. It was a game of spoons. I don't know if everybody knows how to
It's
play
spoons, so alcohol has to be involved.
You're trying to grab all the spoons, and whoever has to like sit out or chug their beer is the one who doesn't get a spoon. So my uncles came in one night, wasted. All of us cousins were trying to have a friendly, competitive game of spoons. They joined in, and one round, both of my uncles, not small men, leaped upon the table and cracked the base. Like this huge oak wood table, they cracked the base because of the violence of their spoon grabbing. So yes, I very much understood this concept of Pall Mall and destroying each other in the name of love and family.
Absolutely. Yeah. For us, it was always the Thanksgiving Trivial Pursuit game. So it was usually like my family and my dad's sister's family, and things get intense. There was one year, my mom's brother and his family were with us for the first time in a while, and they had never played Trivial Pursuit with us before, and they were like, "Oh, it'll be fun. Yeah, it's nice post dinner relaxing game." But you could see it on their faces by the end. They were just like, "What the fuck did we get ourselves into?" Now, to be fair to us, we were mercilessly mocking them because, okay, the question was basically like, what's the most popular ice sport in Canada? And my aunt and my cousin spent 20 minutes talking themselves out of saying hockey and into saying curling. Yes,
Oh
they
God.
spent 20 minutes doing this, and then they didn't understand why we were all laughing at them.
That's hilarious.
God. My family won't play Trivial Pursuit with me.
My family's tiny, so we don't have very competitive family traditions because there's only 4 of us. I don't have cousins. Sometimes we played Xbox, but that was really about it. Yeah.
No. Just having like a nice congenial holiday.
No, we definitely like yell at each other. We just get angry, but we're not playing games and getting angry. We're just pissed.
No one gets to win from being angry.
There's no winners. There's only losers in my family.
Yeah, the game situation is interesting. Super fun times playing games with family when you're very competitive. Whew. Okay, this one is getting a little more serious. We had to start with something fun so we could go into something serious. The birth of Hyacinth. It's really Violet's choice, which is very oddly fitting for us to have this conversation in this moment in our pre-dystopian America. The doctor, I wanted to punch him in his fucking face. He's just talking about Violet like she's not in the room. Fucking atrocious. Unacceptable. Luckily, Anthony's afraid of her, basically, and lets her make her own decisions. He's like, no. If I do something wrong, my mom will kill me. So let's not do anything with this. It really wasn't his place to tell his mom what to do, even if he is the new Viscount Bridgerton. Like, no. And I don't think Edmund would have made the decision for her either.
No, I don't think he would have.
No, he would have been like, no, this is her choice. This is our baby. I want our baby to be safe, but I also want my wife to be safe. And she has 7 kids. Come on. When she's standing, like that is a actual thing that you can do to help the birth process along, is to stand and walk. The whole idea of confinement which had probably gone out of fashion by this time, but where in like Shakespearean times, they thought that it was proper to lock a woman in a room with no light and no air circulation. And that was the proper way to give birth. It's no wonder that all these babies die. Like, for real. It's just atrocious. And she's like, no, I've had all of my kids in this house, including that one right there. Like, no, he's not making this choice for me. And I just love how mad she is.
It's also just like asking Anthony is ridiculous. Like at this time, Anthony is what, 17?
Yeah.
Not even. He's like 15, isn't he?
He's super, super young. And it's like,
I think he's older than Kate.
Oh, this is 10 years earlier. So he's 19. He's 19.
Okay, so it's just
he's still a baby. Like, he's still good.
Well, but also like I'm sure he's never been in the room while his mom's giving birth. Like he doesn't know anything about birth,
he's terrified.
about babies, about uteruses. Like he doesn't know anything. And so it's like asking a random man for his like medical opinion is just ridiculous. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's very insulting. And like good on Violet for like not taking it.
Yeah.
So awful. She's like, no, fuck you. We're both living. No, this is not a if or situation. Like, I am going to power through this birth. And she does.
Mm-hmm.
And Hyatt, she seems fine. She's a good kid.
She's a
good girl. She's very funny. And it sucks she didn't have her dad. But she has her mom and all of her siblings, which her mother birthed.
In that room.
Oh, the doctor, he's canceled.
The doctor. Speaking of Hyacinth, actually, it is worth noting, I don't think we mentioned it earlier. So the flowers that Ed was picking when he got stung by the bee were hyacinths. Yes. So that is where she gets her name.
Yes.
So yeah, this scene reminded me of two things. The first is, again, I've watched the series Victoria recently about the young Queen Victoria, and her mother is giving her like home remedies for like nausea during her first pregnancy. And her husband is like, oh, what like statistical data do you have to show that this is like medically thing? And she just, his mother-in-law looks at him and goes, ask any woman who's ever given birth.
Yeah. Do you have a uterus? Have you given birth or been pregnant? You have no opinion.
And then the other one, and this is the sadder comp, is one of my favorite movies, Pan's Labyrinth, where the mother is in a difficult birth situation, and the doctor doesn't even ask. The colonel just says, "If it comes down to it, save the kid." Yeah, and he's just flat, and it's terrible.
Oh, that movie makes me so angry, but it's so beautiful. It's so good, but it's so. Poor Ophelia. She deserves everything.
So this season gave us a lot of mother-daughter relationship showcases, which is perfect tonight, as you've seen my daughter go in and out of the frame. Is it, though, significant that we really haven't spent a lot of time with Lady Mary, who like is a pretty central mother in the season, and yet we barely see her? Like, we know her scandal with marrying a merchant, right? He's like lower class than she was, but other than that, like, we really don't get very much of her at all. Like, what does she have? Like maybe 10 lines in the whole season?
Not a ton. She's very quiet.
She's very quiet, and the scenes that seem like scenes that would be like mothering scenes with her daughters, it ends up Kate is delivering the lines to Edwina, or Lady Danbury is stepping in and talking to Kate instead of her.
It feels like Lady Mary is still in her mourning period. I don't remember, Flo, in the book, do they say how long it's been since the dad died?
I feel like it had been a long time.
Okay.
We do barely see Lady Mary in the book too. Like Kate just kind of takes charge. She's her own person. Kate doesn't really need anybody. And I think that's why like Lady Mary just kind of takes a back seat, but it is a weird relationship for sure.
I do love that she treats them both like her daughters.
Absolutely.
And she sees no difference, which is lovely, especially during that time. Like,
yeah, she could have just as easily tossed Kate right out of the house.
Right. Just like the Featheringtons are afraid is going to happen to them.
Oh, I'm
definitely
sure they'll
fun.
work it out.
Yeah, the Featheringtons will be fine.
Just push your tits up and you're good. That's the
Yep.
Featherington motto.
Yep. Tits out, ladies. Let's
Tits
go.
out. You got this.
All right. And on that note, that is where we're going to leave it for today. So thank you guys for being with us, and come back next time for more shenanigans with the BGS Ton. You can join us as a podcast or on YouTube. And either way, smash that follow button, leave us a 5-star review. Check out our website, bohemiangeekstudies.com. You can watch all of our episodes, enjoy Colleen's Book Corner, where she reviews Star Wars literature, and contact us through email and social media. We are also gearing up on the Yet Another Star Wars podcast feed for the new series Kenobi. And as always, keep telling other nerdy knights to join us. It always helps. And until next time, keep those pow mow mallets up and keep those episodes streaming. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.